This is my favorite digital audio player. It's got a touchscreen, it runs Android, and of course, it plays music. But, well then, so does this thing. This is a smartphone, and it does all those things plus way more. So why do I think that almost 20 years after the invention of the iPhone, a digital audio player is still the best way to listen to music? Well, hey folks, I'm Mark Ryan. This is Super Review, and in this episode of Waveguide, I'm gonna talk about 5 reasons why I think digital audio players are still better than smartphones for listening to music. And yes, this video is sponsored by HiFiGo, and yes, they do sell digital audio players, but to keep it unbiased, I'm actually gonna start by telling you why you shouldn't get a digital audio player. But before I get started, what am I even talking about with this term digital audio players? Well, I'm talking about what normal people used to call iPods or Zunes, or of course MP3 players. The thing is that MP3s are a fine file format. There's just a lot of other types of files like FLAC files, DSDs, etc., not to mention all the different streaming services. So the term MP3 player is a little bit obsolete. So nowadays we call them digital audio players, or DAPs for short. And well, Apple stopped making iPods a few years ago, but there's still a bunch of different companies out there making different digital audio players. Some of them are Android based like this one, and some of them are based on kind of like custom Linux based operating systems like these. In terms of price, they can range from like as little as $30 upwards of $2,000+. I don't really recommend spending that much money on a digital audio player personally, but usually they're gonna have a headphone jack. They'll have expandable storage, and they'll have varying degrees of high-end audio components. All right, we're on the same page now. So why should you get a digital audio player? Well, like I mentioned, I'm actually gonna start by telling you why you probably shouldn't. And the main reason is just kind of the obvious one. It's that if you get a digital audio player like this, you're gonna have something in addition to your phone that you have to carry around with you. And for me, the bigger problem is not just the having to carry it around, it's having to actually charge it, which, I don't know, there's kind of no getting around that, but that is why I personally tend to prefer digital audio players that have really long battery life. The other reason why you probably shouldn't get a digital audio player is if your primary headphone is a Bluetooth headphone like this, and you're trying to get better sound quality, okay? When it comes to a Bluetooth headphone like this, all of the things that contribute to sound quality, all of the audio related hardware, the DAC and the amplifier is actually built into the headphone. So if you're using it on your smartphone or you're using it on a $2,000 digital audio player, it makes no difference. All of the audiophile specific hardware that's built into a digital audio player gets completely bypassed when you use a Bluetooth headphone. So again, if you're trying to improve the sound quality of this, the DAP is not gonna do that. For that matter, honestly, even if you're using wired headphones like this, I generally don't recommend digital audio players as a means of improving the sound quality in these things. And it's not because DAPs don't sound better than smartphones, like they can, kind of depends. Some phones actually sound perfectly fine. But even if they do sound better, it's gonna be to a degree that I think most people will say is kind of minor or even negligible, depending on your standards. So again, while there might be some improvements in sound quality going to a digital audio player, if you're trying to improve sound quality, it's just not the first place I would start. Of course, by now you know that I still prefer a digital audio player. So why? Well, I've got 5 reasons, and I'm gonna save the best one for last. The first one is actually gonna be sound quality. And I know I just told you that sound quality is not really a good reason to get a digital audio player, but I'm kind of trying to set your expectations accordingly because the differences are not giant. But I did a video recently about this, and I'll have it linked up here. There's kind of like 3 common issues that you'll find on a lot of the audio hardware that's built into smartphones as well as especially desktop PCs. And getting a digital audio player is a good way to avoid having those issues. The other thing that's kind of related to all this, it's easier to hear, I'll say that, is output power. So your average smartphone is gonna be able to get most IEMs and probably even most common headphones plenty loud, but if you happen to want to listen to a headphone that needs more power, well, a digital audio player is gonna give you that. Now, the second reason why I think it's a good idea to use a digital audio player for listening to music instead of your smartphone is, well, you save the battery on your smartphone by doing so. So real quick, I kind of want you guys to do a little exercise with me. If you're on iPhone, go to settings, go to the battery section, and then go down here and click last 10 days. You can scroll down and you can see which apps are using your battery life. On Android, you can go to settings, battery, and battery usage. It's just gonna show you from the last 24 hours instead of like the last 10 days. But either way, I don't know, look at how much battery life your preferred music streaming app is using. Is it like 10% of your battery life, 20% of your battery life? What if you could get 20% better battery life on your phone, well, you can just by using a digital audio player instead of using your phone for that music listening. And for me, it's actually a lot more impactful than just that. Because I'm not worried about draining the battery on my phone when I'm using my digital audio player, I actually end up listening to a lot more music than I would normally. In fact, like I'll listen to music while I'm sleeping. While my phone would be charging, I can still use my digital audio player while sleeping. So I not only get better battery life on my phone, I actually end up listening to more music because of it. The third reason that I prefer Adapt to a smartphone for listening to music is it's just free of distractions. Okay, with an Android-based audio player, I could load up distracting social media apps, but it's easier not to. And I think even more importantly for me, it's actually about the notifications because frankly, like no matter how hard I try to disable notifications on my phones, whether it's on iOS or Android, I feel like they always have a way of coming back and just being interrupting in the middle of my music. And I know this might sound a little bit woo, but I feel like music it's this deeply personal thing. And like, it's almost vital, kind of like sleeping or meditating. And for me, doing that without distractions is just so much better than doing it with. All right, before all you Android freaks get into the comments and start telling me that iPhone sucks, you sound like a cult, but I personally prefer iPhone for phone things. But I recognize that it absolutely sucks for having a music library. And I have a music library. I've got a music library of about 5,000 songs. It's like a mixture of FLAC files and MP3s that I've built up over the years. And if you want to know how I did that, I actually did a video up here about building up an offline music library. But yeah, iPhone just absolutely sucks for it for kind of two reasons. Problem number one is just getting files onto the phone is a pain in the butt. And even once you get past that, well, this is Apple Music. It actually will not play FLAC files. I have to convert them to ALAC in order for this app to play them, and there's surprisingly few alternatives in the App Store. So for me, it makes a lot of sense to have a separate digital audio player that has access to the Android App Store and, importantly, has micro SD cards, which are really easy to transfer music onto and off of. If you're on Android already, this might be not as big of a deal. And sorry, you're not all freaks, just the pushy ones. But even on Android, like a lot of modern smartphones don't have micro SD card slots anymore. So in that case, like your hard drive space, if you're putting music library on it, it's competing with your photos and your videos and your apps and all that stuff. So I feel like even in that case, having a separate audio player can still make a lot of sense. Now this might be surprising, but my fifth and favorite reason for getting a digital audio player, like the main reason I actually like using these things, it's buttons. I love having physical, tactile buttons to control playback of my music. And it's for a couple of reasons. Like I love that I don't have to look at the device in order to operate it. I don't have to turn on the screen, navigate to the right app, find the touchscreen UI. It's like these buttons are always in the same place. And I don't even have to like take a thing out of my pocket or even look at it in order to operate it. I love that aspect of it, but I think it's actually more than that. I think there's also just kind of like something nice about having a physical tactile experience to kind of elevate the thing that you're into. And I think a lot of people are experiencing something similar with like cameras like this. You know, yeah, your smartphone can still take pictures. In fact, in some ways, it's probably gonna take a better picture than this one will, but this has got a physical shutter button. It's got dials on it. And something about that just kind of makes me, and I think other people, want to take more pictures. And it's absolutely the same thing here with audio players. Having a nice tactile experience with it, it's not just convenient, it actually makes me want to listen to more music. And there you go. Those are my 5 reasons why I think a digital audio player is still a better way to listen to music than using your smartphone. If you want to learn more about digital audio players, I'll have a link somewhere around here to all of my reviews of my favorite digital audio players. I also did a video about how I like to set up my Android-based apps, and I'll have that linked around here somewhere. But also, shout out again to HiFiGo for sponsoring this content. Of course, again, like I mentioned, HiFiGo sells a bunch of digital audio players, including some of my favorites, which I will have linked in the description down below. And while you're down there, if you haven't yet, well, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, ding the YouTube bell, join me on Discord, and I'll catch you on the next super review. Cheers.
Joined with the force of reviews, we now have the tools to brave the misleading world of audio fools. Hey, this review is super, and so are you. Grab your headphones, sniff a graph, and share your thoughts in this pursuit. Let's get into the future. Just up with this, yeah, I'm up for feeling rich. Say, oh, can you fix it?